Good morning. It is 10 o'clock, barely morning, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, but we're going to do a deer roast today, and I have found a way that I really like to eat deer roast. The problem with deer roast is that you want to shoot a big deer, and well, most of us do. Some of us are real pious. Oh, I only shoot them for the meat. No, you don't. No, you shoot them for the fun of hunting them and the meat. And it's more fun to kill a big one, trust me, I know. I've killed a few big ones. And I got a big one here. This was a 12 point. This is an old deer. And so old deer get tough. And another problem with deer is they don't have any fat. If you look at this, there's no fat. If they do have fat, you want to cut it off because deer fat's not pork fat. It doesn't render well and it tastes weird. So I have a solution to the lack of deer fat and the toughness to deer meat, especially older ones, and that's to cook them as a roast. So this is just one big muscle out of the ham. If you will take your ham and just cut it, just start fishing around in there, you'll find big muscles like this. And here's another muscle out of the ham. This particular muscle makes great steaks, but in this case, we're just going to make a big roast. So what I have here is a crock pot, and I've used a crock pot liner. Makes cleanup so much easier. If you don't have crock pot liners, I highly recommend them. So we got deer meat, a stick of butter, a package of ranch dressing, some golden pepperoncini peppers, and some bacon grease. So I've seen this called Alabama roast. I've seen it called Mississippi roast. I've seen it by a number of names, and that's pretty much what I use. I just don't follow a recipe. I just kind of think, well, hey, this would be better, a little more of that, a little less of this. One of the things that deer meat needs is fat because there's none on it. It's just lean muscle. So adding a whole stick of butter may seem like a lot, but there's no fat on this meat. Adding some bacon grease takes it a step further. So let's assemble it and then we'll let it cook for a few hours. Okay, the first thing I like to do is put the juice. These are pepperoncini peppers. I don't know how you say it, pepperoncini. So you're going to pour some of this in there, and I know it seems weird, and I've tried it without it, and it don't taste right. You need this peppery vinegar to make it taste right. You need a few of these peppers in there to give off the right flavor. So there's about 3 of them. I'm more or less looking at the jar going, all right, that's a second batch of roast right there. Now that I have those in there and I've got some moisture on the bottom, let's lay the deer meat in there. I know this is so hard. And people are like, shouldn't you brown it first? No. All I did to this meat was I trimmed a lot of the silver skin off of it. The Indians used to make bows and arrows out of silver skin, so I don't eat bowstrings. Now, bacon grease. I'm going to add a generous tablespoon. It doesn't matter what brand of ranch dressing you use. This is Hidden Valley Mix. I've used the store brand. This was the oldest bag I had. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and get it out of the way. That's it. It's really that hard. That is all there is. Now, we're going to set that for 8 hours, and we'll be back and take a look at it in 8 hours. Okay, here we are 9 hours later. Maybe the steam won't get the camera too bad. Alright, there's what it looks like. I don't know how much you can tell. Looks a little dry on top where it's sticking out, but that's easily fixed by turning it over. Now the question is it tender? And I think that answers that. It's pretty tender. Let's try a little bite. Just a nibble. Okay, there's 2 ways to do this. You could take this out whole and slice it, and you could take this gravy and reduce it down and thicken it up with cornstarch or flour. But what I like to do is just shred it right there in it. So I'm going to just grab the meat and shred it. And as you can see, it shreds easy. Tell you what, I'll pull this piece out whole and I'll shred the rest of that. So to shred it is easy. You're just going to grab some and you just tear it up with a fork. Any big pieces, you're just going to shred them, stir them around. I like to do this till it's pretty finely shredded. It seems to hold in the seasoning and the juice a little better. Okay, here's some that I've already shredded up here, and you can see it's tender. I sliced a piece of that smaller piece of meat. Let me just show you how tender it is. Do you see that? But because we sliced it, it doesn't have any gravy on it. So if you're going to slice chunks, you want to put gravy on it. If you're going to shred it like I did, you'll notice that there's moisture in it. You can see it kind of oozing out when I do that. It'll retain the moisture better. So I prefer it shredded like this in the juice. So there you have it. My favorite way to fix deer roast. If you don't like the gamey taste, if you don't like dry and tough, you really can't beat this right here. That butter, a little bit of bacon grease. So tender, so moist. You know what, I'm busy. I'll see you guys on the next video.